The Trump administration's escalating confrontation with the judicial system has reached a critical point, marking what many observers consider a constitutional crisis. Recent events showcase a pattern of defiance that challenges fundamental principles of checks and balances in American democracy. At the center of this crisis is the administration's handling of Venezuelan migrants. Despite a federal judge's explicit order, the administration proceeded with deportation flights to El Salvador, sending hundreds of migrants to a mega-prison facility known for civil rights violations. These deportations targeted individuals who hadn't been convicted of crimes, raising serious concerns about due process violations. The administration attempted to justify these actions by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a wartime law traditionally reserved for actions against foreign governments during conflicts. The White House's response to judicial intervention has been notably aggressive and dismissive. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt argued on Fox News that judges cannot be permitted to determine the way in which the president handles foreign relations. Attorney General Pam Bondi went further, accusing the judge of improper interference in national security and foreign affairs, stating, "This one federal judge thinks he can control foreign policy for the entire country, and he cannot." Bondi confirmed the administration's intention to continue deportations to El Salvador using the same justification. Trump's personal response has been particularly confrontational. He labeled the judge a radical left lunatic who was not elected president and demanded impeachment. On Truth Social, Trump posted, "This judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached." He followed with inflammatory rhetoric about vicious, violent, and demented criminals entering the country. The administration's strategy involves deliberately quick implementation of policies before legal oversight can intervene. A senior administration official described their approach as move fast, acknowledging they expect courts to try to stop them but aim to execute actions before legal mechanisms can catch up. This strategy was evident in the El Salvador deportation flights, where the administration acted swiftly despite knowing about pending legal challenges. Internal discussions reveal a more calculated approach than mere impulsive defiance. Trump and key advisors had previously developed complex legal strategies to exploit the Alien Enemies Act, with private conversations indicating plans to expand deportations far beyond their publicly stated targets of gang members. This suggests a premeditated approach to challenging judicial authority. The crisis extends beyond immigration matters. The administration has shown similar resistance in multiple areas, continuing to pressure grant recipients to sign contracts with anti-diversity language despite court orders, refusing to release billions in federal grants in defiance of judicial mandates, dismissing thousands of federal employees against court directives, ignoring a Rhode Island federal judge's order to release federal grants, marking the first time a judge explicitly declared the administration was disobeying a judicial mandate. Legal experts view these actions with growing alarm. Ken White, a former federal prosecutor, emphasizes that deliberately violating court orders constitutes criminal contempt and potential obstruction of justice. However, he notes the practical challenge of enforcement, stating that the Department of Justice has basically decided the Trump administration is above the law. The administration's officials have been increasingly bold in their public statements. Border Czar Tom Homan declared on Fox News, "I don't care what the judges think," while Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller called the judge's order patently unlawful. These public declarations of defiance represent a significant departure from traditional executive branch respect for judicial authority. One particularly concerning aspect is the administration's view of enforcement limitations. A close Trump advisor pointed out that while judges lack military force, the president commands the armed forces, asking rhetorically, "Are they going to come and arrest him?" This perspective suggests a dangerous willingness to consider physical power as a factor in legal compliance. The situation has evolved from individual incidents of resistance to a systematic approach of challenging judicial oversight. The administration makes a distinction between defying and ignoring court orders, though legal experts argue this is a meaningless distinction in practice. The pattern suggests a deliberate strategy to undermine the judiciary's constitutional role. Recent developments indicate an acceleration of this confrontational approach. The administration's continued pressure on organizations regarding diversity programs, despite court orders to cease such actions, demonstrates their commitment to this strategy. While an appeals court recently sided with the administration on some issues, this has only emboldened their approach to judicial authority. This ongoing challenge to judicial oversight represents more than a policy dispute, it tests the fundamental structure of American governance. While previous administrations have challenged court decisions through legal channels, the current situation represents an unprecedented level of executive branch defiance, operating on the principle of "what are you gonna do about it?" This approach threatens to fundamentally alter the balance of powers established in the Constitution. The crisis continues to evolve, with the administration showing no signs of moderating its stance. This systematic challenge to judicial authority represents what many observers consider a genuine constitutional crisis, testing the resilience of American democratic institutions and the separation of powers doctrine that has governed the nation since its founding.